Hey guys, this is Larry Hymes, Hymes. I'm on the Explorer forums at L Hymes or Limes. I just got my new Explorer yesterday, and I was just getting it all set up. Hope I can get it in focus a little bit better now. Here we go. This is a third-party bumper protector. I installed it. It looks awesome. I think it looks better than the OEM one. It looks really good. I don't know the dangers of putting my license plate on the internet, so I'll just avoid doing that. I do have the shark fin antenna installed also, and I think it looks awesome. It looks way better than the stock also. I think it's almost mandatory in my opinion. I wanted to actually make this video to show you what I did with my radar detector. I got the blend mount that everyone talks about on the forums, and I'm really happy with it, but I wasn't too crazy about the cable that splices into your Molex connector behind the mirror, so I'll show you what I did. I think it was pretty easy. I did it this morning, and it makes it look like it's stock. The wire from the radar detector, let me let it focus, comes from the radar detector and it goes right up into this plate right here, and it looks perfect. So this is the wire that they sell as an option on the blend mount site. I didn't really like the way it spliced into the Molex connector myself. It was way too tight and it was bending like crazy just trying to get it in, and I mean, I'm pretty gentle with this kind of stuff. So yeah, I almost threw it away, but I figured I could make it work. So this is what I did. From here on out, I'm just going to go to the technicals. You guys can kind of stop watching if you're not really interested in how I did this. But, oh yeah, and this is my dog, Chester. He helps out with the operation. We're about to go to the dog park, but, yeah, I figured just do a 2-minute video about this. Alright, so here's how we install this. Things you kind of need: soldering iron, clippers, scissors, maybe a knife, some extra cable, a thicker gauge than what is actually in this cable here. You can just, if you've got like a scrap power supply or a Y Molex adapter out of a computer, you can use that. This is like probably 16 gauge wire. It's plenty fine for actually using what we're going to do to splice the cable in. I like these ones. These are the 3M Quick Connects. They just work really well, and they're not too large. I mean, I always like 3M products myself. They're like $4 for the big package over at, like, I don't know, Walmart or one of those wholesaler or big sale stores. So, how you do this? This plate right here pops off. It just yanks off. The blend, the cable that they sent, that's like $20-something. It comes up and it has a black and red splicer. They're like these little thin flat connectors. What I did was I clipped those off. That left me with just the 2 bare wires, and then there's a sheath at the top. And I mean, obviously I don't have it on this one anymore, but I mean, I'll explain it to you. So there's a sheath that kind of couples the 2 wires into the what do you call it? The wire cover that's on there. So it's just a plastic like mesh wire cover. So I just took a knife and I cut off the sheath, and I pulled that back, and it left about 1 inch of the really super thin wire. What I then did was I stripped off about 1/4 of an inch off of both the black and the red, and I just soldered them. I mean, this is obviously not the cables that I used, but I soldered them to about a 2-3 inch piece of the thicker gauge wire. Once I was finished soldering them to the thicker gauge wire, I took I just took some shrink tubing and I put the shrink tubing over the wires, and I then heated it up and it shrunk down and it looked really good. And then I put a thicker shrink tubing onto that, and then I shrunk that down. Now, before you put on that second thicker piece of shrink tubing to shrink tube both together, what I would really recommend doing is hitting that plastic sheath at the very top that's on this cable, at the very top where you're going to put the second shrink tubing on top of, because the plastic mesh will shrink up a little bit and tighten up and make it really easy to put the that second shrink tube on top of it. So in the end, what you're going to have is this cable, and at the end you're going to have the two thicker gauge wires, and then they'll be shrink tube together into this, and it'll look, I mean, it looks pretty sweet. I then cut those 2-inch longer pieces like that, or thicker gauge pieces like that. I cut them down to about 1 inch maybe. It's all that's really necessary. So here's what you do. Once you have that modified cable, and I mean, I could explain this a little bit better if it's necessary to anybody, like on the forums. So here's the actual cable that connects into the back of the mirror here. It's just 3 cables inside of this wire mesh cover. The mesh cover comes up into here, and it's actually just taped down into this wire bundle here that splits off to some sort of sensor right here, and then it comes back down into the mirror. So where this mesh came up and met the wire bundle, I took the knife and I just cut in around. I mean, I pushed inwards. I didn't push into the wires, but around the edges, and I cut the plastic tape that they use, or the rubber tape that they use to hold this mesh on here. That allowed me to push this mesh down about 1/2 inch and gain access to the 3 wires that run to the mirror. There's 3 wires, like I said. There's black, there's like a gray and black, and then there's, I can't even remember what the third color mix combo was. I think it was like gray and blue, or gray and like a black stripe. But the 2 that you're interested in are the thinner ones, the higher gauge wires. The thicker gauge one you're not interested in. It's some sort of sensor cable. So essentially, there's the black and there's the gray and black. The black is the ground, and the gray and black is the 12 volt or whatever voltage it uses. I think it's actually like 5 maybe, but it could be 12. So I put the quick connects on, and then I spliced this cable into it, the one for the radar detector. To make your life easy, I'd recommend putting the quick connectors in place and then pushing the radar detector cable in afterwards. So this is what the quick connectors look like. It's designed for splicing 2 cables together, obviously. There's a plastic gate on one of these, like you can see it right there on this side right here. So you need to make sure that this plastic gate is facing away from you, because you're going to be taking the radar detector wires and pushing them into this side here. Again, to make your life easier though, what I was going to say is you want to take the quick connector and put it onto the wire that goes to the rear view mirror first, and then before you press down the splicer, the little metal splicer thing here, you will want to push the whatever appropriate cable, whether it's the ground or the voltage cable, into the gated side, and then smash that splicer down and clip it closed. Once you've spliced both cables in there, I would recommend just taking a little wire zip tie and zip tie it tight right there. At that point, that's pretty much it. You just have to take these quick connectors and make sure that they're flat. Just push on them, and just make sure that they've flattened out a little bit, just like that. And then you just take the plastic cover piece right here, and you'll snap it back, and you'll see the way that this clips on. It actually is, it's got this clip here that snaps onto that sensor, whatever it is right there. It's probably a light sensor. So what I did was I took my fingers and I felt the edges like that, and then I placed it up here, and I made sure that I could feel the sensor in place where it needed to be, and then I just snapped it up, and that was it. I really need 2 hands to do that part, so I'll do that on my own after this video is over, but that was really it, guys. I hope the video is informative. I know it's kind of tough when I don't actually have the thing in my hand and I'm just kind of describing it, but if anybody has problems doing it, or they don't know how to really do any soldering, I mean, you could contact me, and I mean, I could work something out to do it for you. And then it's no solder solution once the cable's fixed up. Take care.